Hey, it's game day. Welcome in. It's the PHNX Cardinals podcast, your premier Arizona Cardinal podcast. Like and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star wherever you get your programming. This is your premier Arizona Cardinal pregame show brought to you by our friends at Sanderson Ford right here in the greater Phoenix area in Glendale. And then how about our friends at Gila River Resorts and Casinos, Wild Horse Pass. Big ups. Big thanks to everybody. Drop a like on this video. I'm Johnny Venerable. He is the playmaker in his shades, Britton Golden, Damon Dawg, producer extraordinaire behind the mic. We've got Brack live at State Farm Stadium in just a couple minutes as we preview Britton Golden. It's been a hot minute since you joined us. The Arizona Cardinals attempting to win their third straight game for the first time in 3 years as they sit atop the NFC West.
Oh, look, coming off of that win they had last week, huge win for them, by the way, in Miami. Offense finally looked just wonderful.
Yeah.
I mean, they were connecting. Marvin Harrison was involved. Trey McBride was involved. Right? You didn't have a crazy Dave and James Conner on the ground, but he picked up the first downs you needed, got what you got out of him. I think if you can put that on display again today, I think you easily win this game today against Chicago.
So many moving parts, so many good vibes, I would say, for this Cardinal team. And that's a stark contrast to what we've been hearing out of Chicago. Stevenson, the corner, who was seen taunting Commander fans last week in that failed Hail Mary prevention for Chicago, reportedly being benched early in this game. And that's not it. Montez Sweat, the all-worldly pass rusher for Chicago, will not play. Chicago out multiple starters, including both of their left tackle and their backup left tackle. So the Arizona Cardinals, on the flip side, coming into this game relatively healthy. Let's check out the pre-flight inactives today on the PHNX Cardinals pregame show. Only notable, Sean Murphy-Bunting, who looked probable, I guess woke up today, went through a pregame warm-up, neck. He is out again. Now, whatever you want to say about Sean Murphy-Bunting, was their big-ticket acquisition in the secondary this past offseason. The Cardinals are 2-0 in the last two games, Britton, where he did not play. Everything else, Christian Jones, Darius Robinson, Travis Volacek, and Xavier Weaver, we all expected. But no Sean Murphy-Bunting yet again for this AZ secondary.
Listen, I'm not mad about it.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you got young guys that are out there right now playing corner, and they're getting the job done.
Yeah.
I mean, they're giving up a few things, but for the most part, they're keeping everything in front of them and making the tackles. So at this point, it's just go with what's working. You're 2-0 without them. I'm okay with it. I'm not really in any type of.
They should be able to do
they should be just
enough. Garrett Williams projects as one of the best cover corners in the NFL right now. Starling Thomas, Max Melton. Of course, Jalen Thompson can cover a little bit. The Cardinals should be okay. Specifically, I want to read these out. These are from our friends at CHGO Bears. Kyler Gordon out. Jaquan Brisker, notable defender for them, out. We mentioned Braxton Jones out. Khalil Herbert out. Montez Sweat is the headliner. Chicago Bears, since the addition of Montez Sweat, are 10-5 in the Eberflus era. Before that, well under 500. Speaking of well under 500, Britton Golden, we talked about it ad nauseum this week. Matt Eberflus on the road as the head coach of the Chicago Bears, 3-17. Now you couple that with no Montez Sweat. You told me off air, this has got to be a must-win, a very winnable game for Cardinals fans.
It is very winnable. I mean, as long as you can get the offense rolling and connected and clicking early, you got to get your big guys involved early, like we talk about every week. But if you get that going, Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison, James Conner, you get it early in the offense, get the ball out quick, find ways to move it. I think this is a double-digit win for the Cardinals.
We're going to talk more about this game. Plus, we're going to hear from Brack right around the corner on a PHNX Cardinals pregame show. But first, I mentioned him already. Let's talk to you about our friends at Gila River Resorts and Casinos, specifically our friends at Wild Horse Pass. You see it there, achieve legendary status, our favorite place to do some watch-alongs. We had Suns watch-alongs as early as last week. Of course, we're going to be back with our friends at Wild Horse Pass in just a couple of weeks, but why wait, right? I talked to my buddies who are out of town. They're visiting from Chicago. They said, Johnny, where should I go? You know where to go. The biggest sportsbook casino in Arizona, 4,500 slots, live table games alike. Do a staycation. You live here in the Greater Valley area, the prime location, of course, Wild Horse Pass in Phoenix, the side of our watch parties. And again, we love it. I love that the smell of the hard copy ticket. When you're gambling with our friends, you do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playatgila.com for more information. And I hope everybody took advantage of their phenomenal Ferrari Fortunes, which are every Friday at 7 p.m. They kicked it off last Friday, so big ups to the winner. So fired up about our partnership, our friends at Gila River. If you haven't checked this out already, get on the docket, on the schedule for our next watch party. You do you, playhila.com. He does him at State Farm Stadium every single week. Our friend of the program, my co-host here on PHNX Cardinals, it's Bo, Brack, and Bo. I popped over to the Westgate, dropped some family off before coming back en route to Phoenix for our premier pregame show here. I'm going to break some news to people, and you can elaborate. A lot of Bears fans in the house at State Farm Stadium.
Absolutely. It's probably 70-30, man. I mean, it's a huge Bears contingent here at State Farm Stadium. It's an incredible amount. A lot of Walter Payton jerseys, a lot of new Caleb Williams swag. Not a whole lot of Justin Fields out here, but a lot of Bears orange and blue going for the visiting team at State Farm Stadium.
You know, and we assume that the biggest way, the quickest way to shut those people up, respectfully get a dub and continue to stack dubs, and that's what we're going to attempt to do here on our Birdgang Blitz. And the first thing we want to discuss with you, Brack, containing Caleb Williams. Of course, Chicago down multiple offensive linemen. Chicago giving up at least 3 sacks per game in the month of October. They gave up a season-high 7 against the Houston Texans earlier this year. My question for you two gentlemen, Britton, I'll start with you. Can the Cardinals take advantage? No Dennis Gardeck. They've got some defensive linemen in and out of the lineup. You know, can the Cardinals under Jonathan Gannon and Nick Rallis take advantage of a Chicago offensive line that's not very good?
I think you have to today. I mean, with whoever you've got playing out there, like you've got to find a way to generate a pass rush. You got to find a way to get him uncomfortable. I mean, we've seen it. I mean, what was it last week? Caleb Williams went into halftime with what? Or maybe went into the fourth quarter with like 30 yards passing. If you can do that this week and mimic that defensively, I mean, you win this game by a landslide. If you can control that and not allow them to get going, not allow him to find his playmakers and just make him uncomfortable, he will make bad decisions. He will throw the ball to the other team. We've seen it happen already. That's exact. You just have to find ways to generate pressure. I don't care who it's from or who does it, but find ways to get in that backfield and just cause a havoc.
Bo, is this a Zaven Collins kind of breakout game? We've been waiting for it, 1 sack on the year. Or is it somebody else that's on your radar for the Cards defensive line?
Well, there's somebody else, but I do think that Zaven Collins, who was able to register his only sack of the season in week 2 against the Los Angeles Rams, has the opportunity, a very similar opportunity where the Bears are down 3 offensive linemen. They're down to like their 3rd left tackle on this roster. So there's going to be the opportunity to do that. And I think like Victor Dumakaji has to step into the role of Dennis Gardeck and maybe get a sack himself and generate that pressure off the edge that they've been severely seeking for so long. And then I think interior-wise, they should be good. Like you've seen guys show up the last couple of weeks and be able to get the quarterback on the turf. You know, with Naquan Jones, Ben Stilley, you know, you've got Dante Stills. So I think that they should be able to get their opportunities. Now they just got to get Caleb to the ground for the sack.
Everybody drop a like on this pregame show. Big ups to our guy, Damon Dawg, producer extraordinaire. Let's keep the vibes going here on a Birdgang Blitz. Let's look at the opposing quarterback, the hometown kid, Kyler Murray. And this offense specifically, Bo, are you expecting an offensive encore after the offense, and we were there in Miami, in South Beach at Hard Rock, took flight in tune of over 300 yards passing for K1, 2 touchdowns. And I thought the Cardinals had one more quarter in that game against Miami. They would have well eclipsed 30 or 40 points. That's the trajectory of where this offense was. Do you foresee them keeping it going against Chicago? And is it a mandate for them to win this game that the offense continues to fly high?
Yes, no doubt about it. It's got to be able to put up points consistently like it did at the end of the game in Miami. I mean, I think there was some confidence just based off of that performance, based off of how, of course, Chicago undeniably good as far as against the pass this season. But I think how their coverage schemes set up well for Kyler Murray, where he's thrived against this season in the defensive schemes that they play. And now with Montez Sweat, who transformed this defense at the end of last year, is gone. He was the guy that kind of got that going. He's not available today for him, inactive. I think this is a huge opportunity for this offense to parlay back-to-back solid performances.
Britton, did you see anything watching the game last week at your house? The Cardinals maybe mix some things up, specifically with this passing game centered around Marvin Harrison Jr.?
I mean, I think it was just finding ways to get, like we've talked about all season, finding ways to get your playmakers the football, whether it be Trey McBride, James Conner, or Marvin Harrison. You found ways and you found plays that worked, that got them targets, that got them opportunities, and they made the plays. I think piggybacking off of what Bo said, like, this has to be a game where you mimic what you did last week, because we've gone all year long seeing great performances on offense in a week, and then you go 2 or 3 weeks where it's just awful. It's what you don't want to see.
Yeah.
So I think this is the week where if you want to prove that you can have a consistent play calling offense, and like it's got to be executed on the field as well. It's not just on the OC, but if you can be consistent on both sides of that and mimic that performance you had last week, I think you're onto something, and you're building something that can be really great with this offense.
Jeff in the chat, McBride needs a touchdown. This feels like another big Trey McBride day.
He does need a touchdown for my bank account.
Yeah, that's right. My man over here with our friends at Bet365. We're going to talk more about that later. Chicago's defense, one of the more susceptible defenses to opposing tight ends. They were lit up last week by our friend Zach Ertz. Trey McBride, top, 1 to 3 tight end in the NFL right now. You got to figure he's going to play a big role. And no touchdowns on this year. We got to fix that. Speaking of fixing things, how about a little crowd control? Bo, you mentioned it. Roughly 70-30, which I think was conservatively our guess. That's our next segment here on the Birdgang Blitz. And, I'll just come out and say it. Like, it's disappointing when Cardinal fans sell their tickets, but I'm not here to lecture people about how they choose to spend or not spend their money. Cardinals haven't done enough at State Farm Stadium recently to give people a reason to come out and support them through hell or high water. But I do think this is a turning point, Bo, where regardless of this Bears team, you win this game today and you come back next weekend against the Jets and you're over 500 and you're sitting atop the NFC West going into your bye. I think today, in a weird way, could be the end or the start of the end for these big market franchises taking over State Farm Stadium. And am I wrong here?
No, I think that it's absolutely right. I mean, it's you got to give them a reason, and of course, like fair weather comes to mind. But look, it's been so bad, especially at home before this season. And can they combat that? Should they be able to go against this now newfound home field advantage for the opposing team? Like they're 2-2. Like they've won 2 games on the road. They can play in hostile environments. It's unfortunate that they have to come home and play that, but I think the tide is turning on that. And you will start to see, more Cardinals fans hold on to their tickets and sell their tickets to other Cardinals fans instead of, having the opposing fan bases. But the Bears, like, they just travel well. They had this circled on their calendar a long time ago, and this was one of their opponents. And then when the schedule was revealed in May, I think that Bears fans had already locked in their tickets, and they were never going to give them up unless they completely fell flat out of the gates. And they didn't.
Britton, you briefly played for Chicago. You know this fan base. I grew up in Illinois. Like, this is a franchise, not a lot of success, but that Chicago market runs deep. It's, I think, the biggest growing city in the continental United States. So, and a lot of people, this, travel to Arizona from Chicago, especially retirees, for part of the year. It's the definition of a snowbird.
Oh, yeah. And, I mean, the fan base of Chicago, right, they love that football team, regardless. I mean, even when they're bad, they might complain and yell, but there's still a love that runs very deep. And Midwest in general, the teams in the Midwest travel well. And even when, we were having a lot of success out here in Arizona, when we played Green Bay, there was a lot of Green Bay fans in the stands. There'd be a lot of Pittsburgh-type fans in the stands. Like, those teams that have the very loyal fan bases, they tend to travel well, especially out here to the Valley. I mean, a lot of them have winter homes out here anyway, so it's basically a home game for some of them. But that's the point where those are the teams that are going to travel well anyway. You would like to see more of your fans in the stands, but like you said, right, until you start winning games, until you start proving that you can be a force to be reckoned with in the NFC, people are selling their tickets.
Yeah, I was dropping off some family at the Westgate, like I mentioned, and there were people down there, and I just said, this is just too good a setup for opposing fans to come out because everybody wants to be vibing in AZ, especially in November when it's, 80 degrees and we're loving life. Are the Cards going to be loving life post this game? Our last segment here on the Birdgang Blitz. Then, Bo, we'll get you out of here on this. Over 500, dead or alive, just like that recess game back in the day, grade school. Playing 500. Can the Cardinals get over 500? This is the first time since 2021 that the Arizona Cardinals have a prime opportunity to get to over 500. Not only would they be sitting atop the NFC West, the most favorable schedule this team has seen in some time down the stretch here. So, Bo, I'm going to start with you because you're not going to be with us on prediction time in just a couple of minutes. Cardinals, can they get over 500 today, and what would it mean for the first time in the JG era to do so?
An emphatic yes. And it would mean, you had buy-in from the players, the coaches, the front office members, and now I think you're going to get complete buy-in from the fan base. They're seeing the results of this process that's been put in place, and it's not just a sample size any longer. I mean, it's going to go through, if you move to 5-4, you move to 500 overall with Kyler Murray at quarterback and his, 17 games as quarterback. I'm sorry, he'd be one game under, but over 500 this season in approaching 500 just under Jonathan Gannon, which is unbelievable considering where the roster was last year. I think that it would be a huge win for them. It doesn't mean like, hey, they're just going to go buy your playoff tickets now, but it puts them firmly in the NFC playoff picture halfway through the season.
Yeah, Britton, we talked about it. Like, this team was sitting at 2-4 just 3 weeks ago, and now they have an opportunity to really turn their season around. We talk about it. There's always a couple teams in the NFL where people write off, they have a tough schedule, and then they really get started. I think any Cardinal fan would put themselves in this position today if you would ask them or pose this to them back in the summer.
I mean, looking at, even before the bye, right? You got a couple games before the bye. Like, you've got the Bears and you got the Jets. Those are two games that if you do what you're supposed to do offensively and somehow find a way to generate pressure on defense and just hold them under 20 points a game, I think you can easily win the next two games.
Yeah.
Right? And put yourself in position to go in 6-4. Charles Woodson, I was watching Game Day this morning. Charles Woodson was talking, and he's got the Cardinals sleeper, obviously, but with an easiest opportunity to win the NFC West.
Yeah.
Right? When you look at the schedule and who's coming in and who, where they go and just down the line for the next 3 or 4, 5 weeks, there's opportunities to win a lot of games if you can be consistent and if you can, convert and do what you're supposed to do offensively and defensively. You have an opportunity. So I think today it's a big step, right? One, but you've got to come out of here with a win against Chicago.
Big thanks to our guy, Bo Brack, live from State Farm Stadium. He's going to be checking back in with us on your PHNX Cardinals postgame, Bo. Bo, be well, my friend.
Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.
Great stuff from Bo Brack. Great stuff from our friends right around the corner here from BetMGM. But first, let me talk to you about our friends at Sanderson Ford. Sanderson Ford, a proud partner here, PHNX, the official vehicle partner of PHNX Sports. And I didn't keep Bo on live long enough, Britton, to dog him over his truck game as I'm looking to upgrade my truck game with Sanderson Ford. What do you think? If you think Ford and you think Johnny Venerable, what kind of car would you consider for me?
Oh, you could probably pull off a Bronco.
How about that? Bronco boy.
I'm thinking a 350.
I like all those
Johnny
suggestions.
The 350 with Johnny?
Bronco
yeah, man, he's a truck guy.
Bronco buster.
Are you going to lift it or are you going to leave it regular?
I'm going to leave it regular.
No,
I'm a
then you
family
can't have
man.
it.
You don't need to do the Bo Brock special.
No one wants that. What you do want, though, is you want to stop over to Sanderson Ford. Check out the new F-150 trucks with 3.9% financing for 60 months. Plus, they got $4,000 cash back right now and a free pair of tickets to see Weezer, Sublime, and more at November nights with just a supply of 100 tickets. So no purchase or test drive required. So get in on the action with our friends at Sanderson Ford. Again, offer right now a 2024 F-150 STX OAC from Ford Credit. And again, one pair of tickets per household and requires a valid driver's license. You haven't checked out our friends at Sanderson Ford in the Glendale location. What are you doing? We stopped by earlier this year. It's fantastic. The Starliner Diner, it's a great place to go and get an education, upgrade your acumen right now on a vehicle of your dreams. How about the gambling scene of your dreams? Tap that app. Baby, you want to get boosted with us here at PHNX Cardinals. let's do so. This is available right now for the better part of the next 9 minutes with our friends. It's the Pregame Picks Bet365. How about a little boost action? 525 boosted to 650. A boost of 125. I'll take it. I'll take this. Kyler Murray, 50-plus yards rushing. 25 yards, rush yards. James Conner, anytime touchdown. Marvin Harrison Jr., 4 receptions. What is that? 320 to plus 400? So even I had that wrong. I botched that. We're going 320. My eyes are bad to plus 400. The deals keep getting better. James Conner, anytime touchdown. Find the end zone. Kyler Murray, a modest 25 yards rushing, and Marvin Harrison Jr. over 4 receptions. I mean, is there a possibility, Britton, we could cash that in the first half?
That might
I love
happen
that.
before halftime.
Yeah, absolutely. Britton, what do you love about it?
Ooh, I mean, I like the Kyler Murray rush yards.
Yeah.
Because I think it's sneaky. I think you go through a game and he might walk around. It could be the third quarter, could be the fourth quarter, but you're looking at a guy that has maybe 2 or 3 yards rushing, has been scrambling all night, and then what he did against the Chargers, pops off and hits you for a 45-yard touchdown run. You just never know what's going to happen.
Damon, tell me a little bit about some action that you're seeing and how that Cardinal bet can really come to fruition today.
I mean, Kyler's been over 25 yards more than half the games this season.
Yeah.
Marv 4 catches, really feels like he's coming into his own here. And James Conner scores every week. That feels like a great bet. I'm about to hit that up on Bet365.
I mean, James Conner won me about 450 last week with that touchdown at the end of the game. So
Your
Trey
boys
McBride anytime touchdown too.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're so due.
We are so due. We are so blessed. We had that locked in too before the big time defensive inactives, including Montez Sweat for Chicago. So get it now. Get it while it's hot with our friends, of course, at Bet365, your premier betting app, the official betting app of PHNX Sports. Bonus code PHNX 365 when you sign up. I'm going to sign up for a Cards dub today. You guys know that. Damon, Craig, Bo, and I, we all picked the Cardinals on a Football Friday preview show. I'm going to pose it to my co-host here, former Arizona Cardinal wide receiver Britton Golden. Do the Cardinals win, and how do they win today?
I think it's what we talked about earlier. It's coming out and being able to mimic what you did last week on offense, right? You got to get your playmakers involved early, and it's all 3 of them, right? It's James, it's Trey, it's Marvin. I mean, Michael Wilson needs to be involved, and find ways to get Greg Dorson. Just find a way to get all your playmakers the ball, right? We don't have to go out here and say Marv needs 8, targets and receptions in the first half. Not necessarily. Right now, if he has 8 for the game, yes, that's what you'd like to see. But just get him involved. Move the ball early. Get the run game established. When you do that, it opens up your pass game tremendously, right? And just consistency from first half to second half offensively. And defense, all you got to do is just keep everything in front. Make the tackle. Make the plays when they come to you. Find a way to generate some type of pressure. This should be a win. I got the Cardinals winning this game. Yeah, on paper, they should easily win this football.
I think it's a big win as well. Damon, Dawg, any super chats here before we sign off on a pregame show?
We do have one super chat from Chaz199. Howdy, fellas. Y'all looking fly today.
You guys think about my new white hat, the Cardinal bird. Can't see it too close here. But good luck hat. We're hoping to start a tradition with this hat going 1-0. And we're fired up. Like this stream. Like this video, subscribe to PHNX Sports here on YouTube. Ring that bell, friends, for notifications because we got so much good stuff going on. Become a diehard. Go PHNX.com. Craig Morgan is going to have a banner post-game article, hopefully capturing a Cardinal dub today. So you want to become a diehard. So many great diehards that we welcomed over the past week. Plus, you can get a diehard membership right now for half off, under $50 for the entire year. That's $4 a month. Pick up a free shirt or hat, free piece of merch anytime you become a diehard. And again, ring that bell for notifications because we're back. Myself, Britton Golden, Damon, Dawg, for your PHNX Cardinals halftime show. Everybody be safe, be well. We'll see you at half.